My name's Barry Sarchet. Our next cruise came again. We went to the Mediterranean again, and this time it was. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the exact dates, but it was in. I want to think September of '77, which meant we was going to miss Thanksgiving and Christmas, which something I hadn't done, and so. I don't know. Typically, we spent a lot of time in the Eastern Med. It was pretty much the time that the Lebanon crisis was going on, and we was so far out in the Eastern Med that they couldn't get the COD, which was a plane that brought our mail to us, and we spent probably almost 2 weeks without mail, and that's the morale booster is your mail, and it was just getting pretty bad when. You couldn't get letters from home, couldn't get letters out. It was, that was your lifeline. And we sat out there for like 100 and some odd days without pulling into port for Liberty luckily, apparently it went okay because there wasn't too many fights or people getting belligerent because, no mail. And the food got pretty bad too. We were out there so far we couldn't get really fresh stuff, so powdered this, powdered that. It was so at some point during that time frame we got relieved in the Eastern Med, and we finally made port. Several different places. We'd spend a weekend, come out for 2 or 3 weeks, and go back in, which was what you expect. And then it came around Thanksgiving. I can't even remember where we were, but not being home, they had a semblance of a Thanksgiving dinner on the ship. Wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it was something. Then, it just went back to typical operations. Then Christmas came, which was a totally different ballgame for me. Not being home, but so it was in Palma, Majorca, it's a little Italian island off the eastern coast of Italy, which was a great place. It was everybody's favorite place to be. However, I spent that whole day in a telephone exchange. Back in the day, no cell phones, no internet, no Facebook, no nothing, and you didn't have phones on the ship you could just call home on. So you had to go to a telephone exchange and get the operator to get you an overseas line to call home. So I spent 18 hours in this telephone exchange and never got to get a call through. So that was my Christmas in 1977. Very disappointing. However, the next Liberty port we came into, I just went into a telephone booth and actually got through. Surprise! I guess Christmas was a day of all the lines were busy, so it was good to call home a couple weeks later. Didn't get to talk long, but I got to hear my wife, my dad, my mom. So it was a uplifting experience. So we came off that cruise. I guess I left out a few things, but we did lose a few aircraft during that time. And that's what we were there for. In fact, one of the gentlemen that's with me today rescued 2 pilots who had to eject within a 24-hour period. And another one that's here with us today rescued another pilot probably 2 days later that had to eject. So we did our job. That's what we're there for. Other than searching for submarines, which during this time frame it was all Cold War. It was just cat and mouse. We did play with the Russians. The Russians played with us. So it was just a little cat and mouse game. Nothing serious. And I think we just tried to see who could outdo the other. But we came home off that cruise in '78. I think it was probably like March, April of '78, and as I said before, we weren't in Jacksonville more than a couple of weeks, and our air wing changed over to the USS Independence.